Hello everyone, James Garcia here, the writer, director, and creator of Star-Crossed Codes from Outer Space. What we're going to do now is a little director commentary. I'm just going to talk about some of the things in the movie, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, how we came up with things like that. So let's get started. The idea for the series came from a text message from Jade, which I later found out was a joke, saying, hey, let's do a sci-fi alien slasher film with a romantic plot twist. And I immediately thought, we could definitely do something with this. We can do a spoof of the 1950s alien invasion genre and really use the elements that they used, but do this over the top with crappy green screen and things like that. And you can see right now Pat is in front of a green screen. This was shot in the living room of my house. This was our second day of shooting. We had 3 total days of shooting, the first of which was Ben's president scene, and then about a week later we shot episode 2 with Pat and Jade, and then a couple days after that we shot episode 3 with Cody, Jade, and myself. We didn't have very much time to finish the whole production, so we had to do it in that week period. Ben was leaving for college, and Jade had to be in surgery on the same day that Ben left, and so we wanted to get everything done before people became unavailable. So I had Ben and Jade already set up, and so I called Pat and said, hey, I know this is a little short notice, what's your schedule like this week? We want to film something. It's really easy, really short. And so he came and we filmed episode 2, which was a really short, easy episode to do, just some green screen stuff, and then we went to his car and filmed some green screen. And this phone conversation was really funny because I'd already shot the thing with Ben, and the phone that Pat is using is actually my Nintendo DS because we didn't have a corded phone. All we had were cell phones, and so we didn't want our 1950s people using cell phones. So we were hoping that no one really caught that too much. The one Ben's using is real, but Pat's isn't. This footage coming up here is actually stock footage, royalty-free, from old 1950s movies like The Brain That Wouldn't Die, Killers from Outer Space, things like that. Royalty-free just means that it's free for the public to use any way they want. It's out of copyright. It's in the public domain. So I thought it'd be really funny to mix some live-action stuff that we shot and some old 1950s stuff from other movies. And here's Ben's scene as the president. A lot of this was done in one take. I think this one is actually one take here. He's really good at improv and things like that, and I kind of told him what I wanted, and he did it in one shot, and I liked it a lot, and so we went with that. This shoot didn't take very long, just a couple takes. He didn't have to say much, and so that worked well. This shot that you're going to see here, this little effect, is something I used before. It's just an exploding head against a green screen, and I just made it a little bigger and added blood so that it looked like his whole body was exploding. This was shot at my house. This is my bedroom. These are my clothes, my monkey puppet on the bed there. The prop that Pat's going to grab, the little gun from the closet, that is actually a Powerade bottle that Ben turned into a 1950s gun. It's just made with black electrical tape, some black spray paint, some pencils, and a little Powerade bottle. Yep, there it is right there. Called it an ion disruptor, so you'll see that in a little bit here. This is outside of my house. This is Pat's car here. And here's Jade. Now what we did for these scenes were we shot from one side of his car, and on the other side I draped my green screen over the windows and then added the moving landscape. So right now they're just in the driveway, not moving, making it look like they're driving. And so I've noticed that a lot in old movies, and really I've always wanted to do that, and so I love that I had an opportunity to do it here. Now, a lot of what Pat is saying here was actually made up on the spot. We didn't have an actual script written out, and so I had an outline of what I wanted the show to include, things that needed to be said, but a lot of the bulk and the deep stuff, like the Dr. Hamilton stuff and things like that, we thought up while we were shooting. And so I think Pat and Jay did a really good job of kind of rolling with the ideas and things like that, and I think it turned out really well. And the perfect example of that is this right here, the whole "by golly, Mary, I'm a scientist, I'm a doctor." That we thought up while we were shooting part 1, and I thought it'd be really funny to have a scene like that in all 3 parts. That's why Pat does it twice and then I do it another time. And this is my favorite sequence out of the whole series right here, the whole car chase with the UFO. I just love the acting, and I love the crappy green screening, and I love the UFO chasing him down, and I love the stock footage that we found of the car chase. There's the ion disruptor there that Pat's going to use to shoot down the UFO. We thought it'd be really funny if Jade actually sat in the back seat. Most people jump in and they sit in the passenger seat, but it'd be funnier if she took the wheel from the back. And this is my favorite shot, the Wilhelm scream right there, and then the car explosion, which Jade miraculously survives. And here is day 3 of shooting, where we introduce Cody Lopez. I called him the night before Jade and I were going to go meet to shoot. We were already planning on shooting, even though we didn't have anyone to act. And so I called him and said, hey, we're doing an alien invasion movie, do you want to help out? He said, yeah, let's do it. So Jade came up with the costume the night before. He had this cape, it's a Dracula cape, it's red and black, but since everything's black and white, colors didn't really matter. And so he brought the cape, Jade made the mask out of some old costume stuff we had from our Batwoman series, and so we met up that morning at my house, tried on the costume, everything worked out great, so we went out to the desert. We only had about, I think, 2 hours to shoot the whole episode, and we were thinking up ideas on the spot because I had to work at, I believe it was 1:45, and we finished shooting the Dr. Hamilton stuff in Ben's garage at 1:35. And so we finished, ran home, I went to work, and then came home and edited that night. The romantic plot twist that comes up here in a little while, we were a little worried about how we were going to portray that, like why did these people fall in love? And then we realized, you know what, it's a spoof, it's a 1950s movie, let's just make them fall in love. And so that's why some of the love stuff doesn't make sense, and that's on purpose, because we're making fun of the whole 1950s genre, where a lot of plot devices did not make any sense. And so that's why here they're almost in love, and then he's miraculously also looking for Dr. Hamilton. And then here I come in as Dr. Hamilton. This is a wig that Jade brought in for me. It looked like I had a mullet, so I tried altering it a little bit, but that didn't really work. So it kind of looks like I'm from the 80s stuck in the 50s. And a lot of this was improv, made up on the spot, the little monologue here. I used some of the ideas that Pat talked about in episode 2 and just kind of added a little extra anger to him. We really wanted to portray Dr. Hamilton as kind of the mad scientist kind of guy who turns against humanity because of how weird he is, pretty much. This was the last day that I saw Ben before he left for college, actually. We shot this in his garage. Where we shot in the desert was about a mile away from his house, so I called him and I said, hey, we're shooting Star-Crossed Killers from Outer Space, do you want to come out and hang out with us? And so he let us use our garage once he met up with us, because we needed a place to film the final scene. I love that little effect right there. I used the same effect that I used for Ben's explosion, except I minimized it so that they were smaller explosions on my chest. Now, the ending for the series we were kind of confused about, not really sure what we were going to do. I always knew that I wanted Cody's character to go save humanity because of his love for Jade and sacrifice himself. But on the way back from the desert to Ben's house to shoot this last scene, Jade came up with the idea of having her carry his child as a big major plot twist. And I thought it was hilarious, so we went ahead and went with that, and I think it turned out really, really well and really funny. And it's just another one of those little homages to the 1950s really crappy plot lines that came out of that time period. Now, as the last thing, really quick, I just want to explain Cody's costume. This is a bicycle helmet underneath the mask that we put on his head, and that is what we used for this final shot with the baby. We just had Jade holding the helmet with the mask draped over it, looking up at the stars. And so that was the final shot, and the show is over. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble and talk about it. Hope you guys liked the show. Hope you laughed at least a couple of times. If you want more information about behind-the-scenes stuff, just go ahead and check out our behind-the-scenes video, which is a response to this video. Once again, thanks everybody, and I guess I'll see you next time.